I think we need to talk about this, folks. So this is Senator Richard Blumenthal, who has apparently been working with whistleblowers within DHS for a hot minute, in order to put out this whistleblower disclosure that reveals that ICE has a secret memo that is authorizing them to enter homes without a judicial warrant. That sounds very dry, so let me rephrase that a little bit. What that means is that ICE is telling its different officers and commanders that it is perfectly legal for them to say, well, we think there's an undocumented immigrant in there, and give themselves the authority to break into people's houses. Despite the fact that DHS's own guidelines state that is not the case. It is a secret memo that they are using, and they know that it's illegal because they're trying to keep it secret. They tried to keep it under wraps. Apparently, ICE instructors that were made aware of this memo, some of them quit. And we're talking about people who are ICE instructors, right? Like the Gestapo training staff quit because of this memo. And they are trying to teach new recruits to ICE that it is legal to break into somebody's house with only an administrative warrant. And I want to remind you all, administrative warrants are filled out by ICE. So ICE is saying it has the authority to grant itself the ability to break into your house at will. And I gotta tell you guys, I'm not exaggerating when I say, if this is allowed to stand, this is like the breaking of the Republic. This is like, oh no, we're really entering, we're really pushing the limits of what we can accomplish here. I'm struggling to put into words how bad this is. And I think maybe the best way to really impose upon all of you how serious the situation is, one of the people that I follow and trust most when it comes to immigration law and news is Aaron Reichland-Melnick, who, again, if you are all looking for someone to follow on this, who has their finger on the pulse, as it were, he would be it. But, folks, here is his reaction. Holy crap, an ICE whistleblower just revealed a secret memo authorizing ICE officers to break into homes without a judicial warrant, which DHS's own legal training materials say is unconstitutional. ICE then hid the memo from the public, passing it along by word of mouth and private conversation. Basically, it was a direct order from the top to not write any of this down. So it is really good that someone within DHS had the courage to tell us that this was happening. And it explains so much of what ICE is doing here in Minnesota. The other day when they pulled out that Hmong man from his apartment complex, almost completely undressed in sub-zero temperatures, they broke into his apartment with the understanding of what is in this memo. Okay? This is what they are doing. This explains all of it. The gravamen of the disclosure is as follows. By memorandum dated May 12th, 2025, Acting ICE Director Todd Leon authorizes ICE agents to forcibly enter into certain people's homes without a judicial warrant, consent, or an emergency. Specifically, in the May 12th memo, the acting ICE director authorized ICE agents to rely on Form I-205, which is not a judicial warrant, to enter the residence of an alien subject to a final order of deportation without consent, including by, quote, a necessary and reasonable amount of force, unquote. While addressed to all ICE personnel, in practice, the May 12th memo has not been formally distributed to all personnel. Instead, the May 12th memo has been provided to select DHS officials, who are then directed to verbally brief the new policy for action. Those supervisors then show the memo to some employees, like our clients, and direct them to read the memo and return it to the supervisor. So basically, this is on a read-only basis. They printed it out and are only showing it to people under controlled conditions You are not allowed to take notes on the memo. You are not allowed to speak of the memo outside of certain contexts. This is extraordinarily bad. And I genuinely have no idea how they managed to get their hands on this, but they got a goddamn picture of the memo. May 12th, 2025, all ICE personnel, Todd Leon, acting director, utilizing Form I-205, warrant of removal. On January 20th, 2025, President Donald J. Trump issued Executive Order 14159, protecting the American people against invasion, directing the Secretary of Homeland Security to ensure the successful enforcement of final orders of removal. Essential to the removal of aliens subject to final orders of removal is the ability to locate and arrest them. To this end, certain supervisory immigration officers within both enforcement and removal operations and Homeland Security investigations are authorized to issue an administrative warrant from I-205, warrant of removal, for the arrest of an alien with final order of removal. All U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement special agents and deportation officers are authorized to execute Forms I-205, i.e., if any of these officials within DHS or ICE say, well, we think there's an undocumented immigrant in that home, and we think that they're scheduled for final removal, it just means they give themselves the power to break into your home. And guess how often they disagree with one another? That's right, it's never. Although the U.S. Department of Homeland Security has not historically relied on administrative warrants alone to arrest aliens subject to final orders of removal in their place of residence, I'm just going to pause here to say, because it's directly unconstitutional, you have a constitutional protection from this type of search and seizure. The DHS Office of the General Counsel has recently determined that the U.S. Constitution, the Immigration and Nationality Act, and the immigration regulations do not prohibit relying on administrative warrants for this purpose. So I want to really stress here, the reason that they are saying this is legally okay is because the U.S. Office of General Counsel, someone that Donald Trump appointed, is saying, no, it's all totally legal, guys. Completely circumventing every legal precedent on this, which says this is illegal as fuck. Accordingly, in light of this legal determination, which I want to really stress here, this is not a legal determination. This is a lawyer who is in Trump's pocket saying, I don't think it's illegal. If they thought it was totally fine and above board, they would have put out this memo to everyone and published it. This would not have been a read-only memo. This would have not been just like a word-of-mouth thing that they were sharing around. This would not have been that. Okay? The idea here that this is just, oh yeah, no, it's totally fine. It's totally fine, guys. Don't worry about it. Haha. Like, nah. No, actually. It's super illegal. Super duper illegal. I cannot stress to you guys how illegal this is. And when I say this, like, we need to prosecute every ICE agent, when I say we need to prosecute every ICE bureaucrat, when I say we need to, destroy ICE as an agency, when I say that we need to hold every single individual who is currently working at DHS accountable for their actions, I do mean it. Every single one of these ghouls that is abducting children off of the streets of my city and my state. Every single ICE ghoul who is coming in here and beating up teenagers to feel like big, strong men. Every single ghoul that is participating in this, that is enabling this, needs to see the inside of a prison cell. And that, I have to say, is me being incredibly charitable regarding how angry I am. Okay? That is me being incredibly charitable. That is the compromised position here. And I think people really need to understand that and really wrap their head around it. This is a really fucking red line that they are crossing and have crossed. ICE immigration officers may arrest and detain aliens subject to final order of removal issued by an immigration judge, the Board of Immigration Appeals, or a U.S. District Court judge or magistrate judge in their place of residence. And I do want to say also, the wording here where the last thing they list on that is a U.S. District Court judge, it's because they're trying to put immigration courts on top of and like superior to the normal rule of law. They are trying to say that if ICE makes the determination that you are subject to immigration court, they can do whatever the fuck they want with you. And that is me being polite about my phrasing. Okay? This is absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And it is going to get worse, folks, because if you thought that this was going to stop with just average citizens, if you thought that this was going to stop with, oh, just the Democrats, they're only going to go after the Democrats and the left and Antifa. If you're a Republican and you're watching and you're like snarking like, oh, haha, well, they're not going to come to my doorstep. I got another thing for you, pal. Here's a recent report over on MS Now.
What is you all's strategy to fight this?
So
this, by the way, is I believe the Hennepin County prosecutor.
They're not winning that narrative. They're not winning it at all. And I think that that's making them escalate. And they're not winning the narrative because the whole country is seeing children. In fact, I don't know of a single parent who hasn't had to talk to their child, and I'm talking 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds and older. Their children are frightened that ICE is going to take them away. Or
yeah, by the way, that is true. Every single child in the area is getting the talk right now about if you hear whistles, you need to run away from those whistles as fast as you can. If you see these guys coming around, you need to stay the fuck away from them. If you like hear sirens, you need to get the fuck inside. You know, every child of all ages is being kept home from the park, is being kept from going outside because these clowns are rolling up on anyone. Any kid, anyone who they think is vulnerable, and they're, you know, questioning their immigration status. The bare minimum here is that all of these agents need to see jail time.
Their parent or a kid in their class. Kids are afraid to go to school. Kids are afraid to go to school. People who are peacefully protesting, exercising their constitutional rights, are being ripped out of their cars. If you don't have white skin, you are in danger of being stopped by ICE and profiled.
And even if you do have white skin at this point, like if you are visibly queer, if you are visibly poor, you are in danger of being stopped by ICE. They are harassing every damn person on the street right now.
We heard today, actually, some of our law enforcement partners had a press conference, and one of the chiefs talked about one of his police officers of color who was off duty. She was boxed in by ICE. They demanded...
What does visibly poor mean? Superjet guy, you know what that fucking means. Like, do I really have to explain to you how, like, some people look poor? Like, some people have, like, ripped up clothes. Some people have, like, broken shoes when they walk down the street. Some people have, like, tattered coats because they can't afford... Like, people look poor. I don't know how to explain that distinction to you. You look at someone walking down the street who goes into their $10,000 a month apartment in Manhattan, they look fucking rich. You look at somebody who goes into their $500 a month apartment, you know, on the outskirts of town, they look poor. Like, there are certain traits around, like, what you wear, what you drive, how you move, like your confidence in moving around society that mark you as, like, rich or poor. You know? Like, I don't know how to put this. Does that make sense? I didn't know that I had to explain this, but, like, it's... I gotta tell you guys, like... There's a visual difference between a coat that costs $25 at the thrift store and, like, a coat that costs $1,000 off of, like, some, like, tailor website. Guys. And, like, this is a problem, but what I'm trying to convey to you is that if you look different, if you look Where is rent $500? Have you guys ever heard of roommates? Have you guys ever heard of, like, way too many people illegally in, like, the same apartment splitting rent? Come on now. Like, God damn it, guys. I need you guys to understand that what I'm trying to get here is they're looking for someone who looks weak and vulnerable. Someone who is marginalized along some kind of access. If you are queer, if you are poor, if you are disabled, if you are, you know, a person of color, if you are an immigrant, if you can't speak English, if you have like a pronounced accent, etc. Like, they're looking for that kind of stuff. Things that mark you as non-white and non-norm. And they are using that distinction as the only thing that they need in order to stop you and ask you about your immigration status, your citizenship status. And guess what? If you don't have the documentations that they've decided that day make sense to designate you as a citizen, then they're going to bring you down to the Whipple building and torture you if they have to, or if they want to. Like, it doesn't make sense, and it's not fair, and it's not legal, but that is what they are doing. Like, that's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't, like, it is insane, but that is what people are having to deal with every day here. That is the lived experience here. And the issue that I'm getting here is that it's really difficult for me to, like, put into words what is happening here in a way that makes sense to everyone. And it's desperately important that I do, right? And so if I'm getting frustrated and getting visibly agitated, it's because this is really fucking important, and I need you guys to understand this. Okay? Yeah, another thing that marks you from the poor to the rich, you are not bent over from hunger. True.
And she's a citizen. They demanded to know who she was and see her papers and that kind of thing. She was going to try to record it, and they ripped the phone out of her hand. That happened to a cop. That is what's happening here on the streets of Minnesota.
Yeah, I do want to point out here that they are now escalating to assaulting local police. Just in case you're wondering where we're at vis-a-vis the invasion of Minnesota.
And people are seeing the videos, and Minnesotans are very peaceful. They know how to protest very peacefully, and they are not going to back down. They are going to resist this, and I think the administration sees that it's losing the public narrative, and so they are simply escalating, trying to intimidate those of us who are simply trying to do their jobs.
What is you all's strategy to fight this?
It's a bad idea. Police are notoriously trigger happy. Yeah, except that I want to stress this. The local police are less trigger happy than ICE. You know, ICE agents will, like, just fuck you up for looking at them, you know? I mean, like, that is the reality every day here now, and I need folks to understand this memo. This memo is deeply fucked up. All of the trainers currently working at ICE have agreed with the contents of this memo that say that ICE agents can, without a judicial warrant, violate the integrity of your home. They can break in, and they can do whatever they want to you. I mean, that is what the administration is arguing. That is what the administration is telling them to do. The administration is trying to say that ICE agents have the, you know, supreme authority to decide to break into your home and then brutalize you, up to and including shooting you in the face. If they're willing to shoot a mom who just dropped her kid off at school in the face to death, then they are willing to break into any of your houses to do the same. And there won't even be a goddamn investigation from this administration. They will simply say, oh, it was totally deserved. Trust us, it's our word against yours. Upon information and belief, and consistent with the May 12th memo, instructors for new ICE recruits are directed to teach that Form I-205 allows ICE agents to arrest aliens in their home without consent to enter the residence and without judicial warrant. I'm just going to let that sit on screen for a minute. That's where we are right now, folks. That is where we are at right now. This is fucking crazy. This is just fucking crazy. That seems pretty bad. When I say that this is the kind of stuff that is going to lead to outright conflict with the federal government, I do mean it. This is an untenable state of affairs. This reeks of Stephen Miller? Oh, it's absolutely Stephen Miller. Like, Stephen Miller and Trump's own appointed yes men are saying, no, this is all totally fine, guys. And I just... Fuck, man. I mean, this is this part of the memo right here. Conscious of guilt, an opaque and secret memorandum with threats of reprisal. Despite the May 12th memo being addressed to all ICE personnel in practice, the memorandum has only been distributed to select DHS and ICE officials. Furthermore, our clients have been told that the May 12th memo must be treated with unusually strict access control for a document without any confidentiality markings. To wit, one of our clients was allowed to view the memorandum only in the presence of their supervisor. They were handed the memorandum, allowed a few minutes to review it without the ability to take notes, and were directed to hand it back. They were also informed that another employee had been reassigned for contradicting a supervisor about a different ICE policy. Our client understood their supervisor shared this piece of information as a warning that expressing disagreement with the new arrest policy could result in adverse career consequences. Together, our clients are aware of multiple DHS employees who faced retaliation for expressing their concerns and/or disagreement with the May 12th memo's policy change, likely constituting prohibited personnel practices. One client is aware of a seasoned government instructor tasked with teaching this new doctrine who chose to resign rather than be forced to teach what they understood to be unlawful. Based upon information and belief, ICE began formalizing this policy change as early as March 2025. The internal disagreement about the policy and the furtive manner of its rollout are indicators that agency leadership is aware that this new policy runs afoul of settled legal precedent and constitutional principles. That's where we're at right now. That is where we're at right now on this. If you are interested in reading this entire memo and the whistleblower document, I'm going to put a link here in chat for you guys to use. These folks are going everywhere right now. ICE is all over the place, and the more of us that know about this, the better. Furthermore, one of our clients understands that ICE agents operating in the Fifth Circuit, including Texas, have started to rely on Form I-205 to arrest aliens in their residence without a proper judicial warrant. Our client understands that these targeted arrest operations were carried out in court districts that are sympathetic to the administration's campaign to deport illegal immigrants should a targeted person litigate their unlawful arrest. So I want you all to understand, but for the last year, the Trump administration has been slowly rolling this out, trying to make sure that they are doing this type of law breaking, unconstitutional law breaking in Trump-friendly districts. And now they're trying to do it here in Minnesota. Luckily, it seems as if none of those Trump-friendly districts have had a case rise to prominence there, challenging these types of violations. But this very much has the possibility of just ripping apart any ability for folks to do anything. Because I want you to keep in mind, while they are saying, ICE is saying it is only going to use this to target undocumented immigrants, there is nothing here that says they can only target undocumented immigrants. There is nothing here. They are already activated in such a lawless capacity that all they have to do is say, well, we think there's an undocumented immigrant in there, and if anyone gets in our way, we can arrest them too. Right? That's exactly what happened with that Hmong man just the other day, who was pulled out in almost no clothing. Because they are saying if someone impedes them on the way to get to their target, that person can be fully investigated, which means they can just take you. What's the point of calling if they're just going to ignore us? The point of calling is to make enough noise that they don't ignore you. The point of calling is to cause disruption. The point of calling is that it is one of the lowest level and easiest things that you can do and will take all of 5 minutes of your time. The point of calling is that it is a very entry-level way for folks to get into the spirit and into the habit of trying to hold their elected officials accountable. It is the one of the lowest and most accessible forms of trying to leverage political power. And it is not to say that that is all you should do. The same way it is not all you should do to go in and vote. But it does mean that this is one of the ways you have right now, because I know almost all of you have one of these in your hand. All right? It's one of the ways each and every one of you can exert some amount of leverage. And I gotta be honest, while a lot of Republicans might not listen, right now, in particular, when Donald Trump is a goddamn raving lunatic on Greenland and is like getting Greenland confused with Iceland, and he's talking, like, I mean, guys, he's fucking talking about how the parents of the woman that his agents shot in the face, that they aren't even investigating. He hopes that that her dad will still love Trump.
The reason is because these are insurrectionists that are doing this work. And, you know, they're going to make mistakes sometimes. ICE is going to be too rough with somebody, or, you know, they're dealing with rough people. They're going to make a mistake. Sometimes it can happen. We feel terribly. I felt horribly when I was told that the young woman who was had the tragedy. It's a tragedy. It's a horrible thing. Everybody would say, ICE would say the same thing. But when I learned her parents and her father in particular I hope he still is, but I don't know, was a tremendous Trump fan. He was all for Trump, loved Trump. And, you know, it's terrible. I was told that by a lot of people. They said, oh, he loves you. He was I hope he still feels that way. I don't know. It's hard situation. But her father was a tremendous, and parents were tremendous Trump fans. It's so sad. It just happens. It's terrible. Halted all refugee admissions to the...
Like, dude is just straight up babbling about how, oh, well, the woman that my agents murdered by shooting in the face, I hope her parents are still big fans of me. This guy's fucking insane. And called their child a terrorist. And I need you all to understand, this man is weak as hell. And now is a great time to put more and more pressure on this administration. Because there are going to be Republicans who are looking to scuttle away like rats on a sinking ship, okay? I mean, this is just where we're at right now. This man is just like asleep at the wheel while his federal agents are being told, yeah, you can break into anybody's home. It's fine. You can shoot a woman in the face. It's fine. If you have to abduct some 5-year-old children off the street, go for it. And I need you all to understand that it is vitally important for you to call your elected representatives. Now, the scuttlebutt on this is that Richard Blumenthal's office worked tightly with the whistleblowers to ensure that they were safely able to get this information to all of us. And so what I'm asking you all to do is to call your elected representatives, both in the House and the Senate. Okay? Once again, asking you to use 5calls.org. It is vitally important that you do so. By the end of this month, they are going to be voting on funding for ICE. And we need to put as much pressure on them as possible, folks. Calling now, before their vote tomorrow, is vitally important. Call them now. You can use 5 calls. If you click on one of the scripts like defund ICE, for example, it will give you like what you can say, just like a little call to action here. Hi, my name is blank. I'm a constituent from blank. If calling House, I'm calling to ask that my representative push to defund ICE by opposing H.R. 7147 at the DHS appropriations bill, and by supporting legislation that claws back the $75 billion ICE slush fund created by H.R. 1 last year. This lawless agency is violently attacking and killing immigrants and citizens around the country and must be defunded and dissolved for good. And this is a great speech, a great script for you to use when calling your representatives and calling your elected officials. And 5 calls will give you like the number of your one of your first representative, your and your representative of your district, and then your 2 senators' phone numbers. Call all of them, okay? Call all of them. Y'all, you need to look at this stuff. You need to look at the memo, and you need to fucking call. And I understand that a lot of people get really doomer about like leaving voicemails or leaving faxes. But I need you guys to understand that actual human beings at those Senate and House offices do listen to those voicemails and do tally what they are about. They are legally mandated to do so. And so, folks, call your reps. Call your senators. It is vitally, vitally important. All right? I have a Republican senator. Do I call him? No, you do not. Look, you got to be respectful even to your Republican elected officials, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to get them to do something. And if you tell them, fuck you, you're a Nazi, they're definitely not going to do what you're wanting them to do. But do say, like, I want you to work in concert with Richard Blumenthal's office in light of the memo that was released. In light of this DHS memo that is telling ICE officers that they can break into any suspected home in America. Tell them that you want them to take action to restrict ICE on this basis alone. Okay? I thanked mine for their strong support of the Second Amendment, and they did their job. Yeah. Called everyone, including my rubbish Republican House member that has a weird voice message that seems to imply you need to contact him through his website instead. Perfect. And also, folks, I'm going to say, if you want to make sure that they see your message, there is this website over here, fax0.com. I'm going to link it in all of the chats. And I would love it if, in addition...
Also call your council person, county government,
True.
and state government.
True.
Press them to create policies and legislation to combat ICE.
True. Also, I forgot to turn alerts off over here. But, well put, Uncle Simric. And I will say, fax their offices, okay? All you gotta do, you don't need a fax machine. All you gotta do is type in your information, type in their information, and then write essentially an email, right? And if you need to fax your member of Congress, look at that. They've got an updated list of who has fax machines in both the House and the Senate. Not everyone accepts faxes, but a lot of them are old as dirt and do accept faxes. Which is better, fax or voicemail? Both. Do both. It takes almost no effort to do both. If you are local to where they are, consider going to their offices in person. Also, I don't know why... Oh, that's why. That's why I'm getting Discord sounds. I'm so sorry. Here we go. I had a tab of Discord open in my browser for some reason, but that is closed now. There we go. The reason it's so important is because we are in the area of time, the period of time right after new information drops, when Republicans haven't theory crafted their way and done the mental gymnastic routine that it takes for them to come around to saying, oh, that's okay. It's totally fine. They have not done that yet. So they are uniquely vulnerable right now to pressure to act. So I need you guys to call your elected officials, call your representatives, call your senators, call your governor, and let them know about this memo. So now is the time to try and influence them. Okay? Is this the same bill you mentioned last stream, which was a mixed bag? Yeah, that was the bill that they are kind of like putting out in the world and being like, oh, you know, well, also, Superjet Guy, it's not a mixed bag. It's just, Democrats have negotiated a handful of concessions, one of which is like $20 million going to ICE for body cams that they are definitely not going to use. And the other was trying to restrict ICE funding for new holding facilities to $30 billion instead of $100 billion. But like, that's not a mixed bag. Those are like symbolic, essentially. Like, they're not going to minimize what ICE is doing. in a meaningful way. So what I want to point out here is that public pressure does work, and in some cases can make a huge difference. Okay. So Richard Blumenthal here is demanding Secretary Noem provide an explanation for this abhorrent policy, that my Republican colleagues hold hearings and join me in demanding the Trump administration answer for this lawlessness. Which, yes, like, when you call your elected representatives, ask them to work with Richard Blumenthal's office in the Senate. Because it seems like Blumenthal is the one taking point on this, and it is very, very fucking important for us to get as many people on board with this plan as possible in the short amount of time we have. Like, I want to really put out there that a case study in how politicians move in response to pressure would be Ruben Gallego. And you guys know I have no love for Ruben Gallego. He is a moderate centrist piece of shit who talks awfully about women and minorities in private. Even this guy is saying, yeah, I'm not voting to give whatever ICE has become more taxpayer money. It's no longer an immigrant enforcement arm of the US government. And like, this is the kind of movement. Ruben Gallego co-sponsored the Lake and Riley Act last year. He co-sponsored it. Dude was one of the guys who got us into this situation and now is trying to back us out of it. So I have no love for him, but you know what? Right now, in this very moment, we need all hands on deck. We need all hands on deck to get us out of this shit. I called and emailed. Consider sending a fax as well. It is vitally important that you guys, if you've never done a call before, it is super easy. And also, it is almost 8 o'clock in Washington, D.C. It's almost guaranteed that people are not going to pick up and that it is going to be voicemail. So please fucking call. It is a low stakes way for you to organize and low stakes way for you to get involved in the political process. We need Thomas Massie and all other exiting Republicans. Yeah, which is why it is worth, by the way, reaching out to your Republican senators and congressmen. It is worth it to try at this point, because a lot of them are looking for excuses to try and break with the administration. No, this is exactly what it talks about. It's why DHS's own publicly stated policy is that this is unconstitutional behavior. But they're putting out a memo that is saying, no, it's totally constitutional. Don't worry about it. Don't ask questions, bro. Leave your zip code, etc. Like when you're leaving a voicemail, if you want to get a response back. This is existentially bad. It is extraordinarily bad. Holy shit, I just realized in my area the sheriffs are also ICE/working with ICE. Yeah, which is exactly why I've been saying this entire time, we all need to get involved in our local politics to ensure that our local cops aren't also working for ICE. Okay? It is necessary for us to get involved locally for community defense purposes. If you want to keep your neighbors safe, you gotta get involved and start going to those city council meetings, folks. We need a new Malcolm X and MLK Jr., people who actually do things. We have to be those people. That's the thing that is scary, is that no one is gonna fucking come and save us. You have to do it. Each one of you have to do your part. There's not going to be like Martin Luther King Jr. was a very effective civil rights leader, but he had millions of people showing up every day in innumerable different ways in order to move that movement forward. Does anyone have a link to the memo? I have a link to the memo. Here you go. This is the whistleblower memo. Or whistleblower statement. Disclosure. I'm tired of doing stuff. I'll call, but man, I'm tired. Understandable. I didn't want to be streaming today. And I will say, ICE attacking local cops, I think is an excellent development insofar as cops are going here, at least here in Minneapolis, hopefully are going to be more and more antagonized against ICE. So that is my hope as this continues to go forward. I can barely do anything, can't even drive. You can post online. People will tell you posters can't elicit change, but you know what? Look at the White House right now. Half of them are posters. You know? Posting and like shaping public opinion and, you know, irritating your elected officials through email and faxes and phone calls, all of that measurably moves the needle. I want you all to know that congressional staffers freak the fuck out when they get like a handful of phone calls in a given day. If every single person watching this stream right now called their elected representatives, they would be freaking the fuck out. Okay? It takes like something like 8 phone calls to a congressional office for them to like think that whoa, that's a lot of calls. There are currently over 500 people watching this stream right now. My rep knows my name at this point. I'm sure I'll call every Friday to be an irritation. Or I call every Friday to be an irritation. Hell yeah, I love that. Like, I know it sounds trite, but like genuinely, bullying, like coordinated bullying of your elected officials is like 90% of politics. All right? They are supposed to be accountable to the people. They are supposed to be reactive to what you do and what you are pushing for. Remember, the call here is regarding the whistleblower, revelation regarding ICE violating the Fourth Amendment, being given the green light. Action needs to be taken to rein them in. Does ICE even have a presence in Hawaii? Yes. Signing up for a firearm safety class too, so I know some basics. Not a bad idea. You save you, and together we save us. Indeed, Cliff. Indeed. But, folks, tell everyone you know what they gotta do. Call yourself, make your calls, and then call on everyone else in your life to do the same. Use whatever reach you have on social media to put that call out. The website is 5calls.org. 5calls.org and fax0 for faxing. And with all that said, folks, I am going to bring this stream to an end. I wasn't going to be streaming today, but this was so vitally important that I logged on to talk to you all about it and let you know what is happening. It is a serious problem. We are in the middle of the most profound constitutional crisis of modern times. This lawless and fascist administration is trying to take away your right to a private home, your right to have privacy, your right to have government agents not storm your house on a whim. They are trying to say it is legal for them to do that. It is not. And we need Congress to assert itself. So that is your call to action. We'll talk more about it tomorrow. And folks, don't give up. Don't doomer. Get to work and get organized, because y'all, join your local Dems, join your local DSA, get organized in your community, because they're going to be trying to bring ICE every damn place. They're going to be kidnapping kids in your area soon. They're going to be brutalizing teenagers in your area soon. They're going to be torturing people in your area soon, and you need to get fucking ready. So show the fuck up to your organizing meetings. Show the fuck up to your town halls. Make sure your local sheriff's officers aren't collaborating with ICE. And keep one another safe. Okay? If you need help organizing, join our Discord. Reach out to Dragonfly for help organizing with your local Dems and radicalizing them to more progressive politics. Reach out to Gamergy for help getting organized with your local DSA, or even starting out a new branch of the DSA in your area. And folks, whatever you do, get organized. They're coming.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat Jack.